Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we combine a love of movies and television with not a lot of actual knowledge about movies or television. I'm your host, Joseph. With me is my co-host, Christian.
Yes, that's me.
That is you. And joining us again this week, Jason Hurt.
How's it going?
As our resident comic book expert and also sometimes friend.
Yeah.
Rarely.
So this week, we're going to be breaking down Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the new animated Spider-Man story introducing Miles Morales and also a lot of other Spider-Men from other dimensions and universes. Spider people, that's probably more accurate. Yeah. This movie is directed by three people, Bob Paraschetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. Bob Paraschetti doesn't seem to have a lot of credits to his name. Peter Ramsey did Rise of the Guardians, which is another animated movie about like...
is that the one like Santa Claus?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I like that movie.
And Rodney Rothman did more writing stuff before instead of directing. He wrote 22 Jump Street and Pop Star Never Stopping with Andy Samberg.
Mm-hmm.
Popstar is hugely underrated. I fucking love that
I
movie.
never saw it.
I don't think that movie is great, but the songs in that movie are incredible.
See, I think that movie's great. It killed me. I laughed from beginning to end.
But the movie we thought was written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the two guys minds behind the Lego Movie. Turns out Phil Lord is the only one with a writing credit, and then Rodney Rothman is also attached to it. Stars Shameik Moore, who of Dope and the Get Down fame, as Miles Morales, and it's just a star-studded cast from there. We got Jake Johnson, Chris Pine, Nick Cage, John Mulaney, Haley Steinfeld, Brian Tyree Henry, Mahershala Ali, Lily Tomlin, Zoe Kravitz, Liev Schreiber, and actually more. I just stopped writing.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people in this movie.
But it's a great voice cast. You want to tell us what the story is, Christian, before we get into it?
Yeah, so this movie picks up with Peter Parker being the heroic Spider-Man everyone knows and loves. Young Miles Morales kind of admires him as long as the rest of the city of New York when tragedy happens and Peter Parker dies. And somehow, mysteriously along the way, Miles Morales also gets Spider-Man powers before he can be taught how to be Spider-Man. When Peter Parker from another dimension, but a slightly different Peter Parker, shows up, and they go on a journey to stop Kingpin from combining all the dimensions, and this also introduces a whole bunch of other Spider people. I really like this movie. It's very good.
Me too, man.
I also, it's kind of, we'll get more specific. I just want to say, the animation in this movie is freaking beautiful.
It's incredible.
It's really great. It's really cool.
So looking. Good. It doesn't look like anything I think I've ever seen before.
No. I mean, they're apparently looking into, patenting this... like animation style because it was so new, like they had to create everything for it.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Sounds like James Cameron bullshit.
That does sound like James Cameron bullshit.
Bullshit, totally.
So what did you guys think? What are some things you like or dislike?
I really loved it, man. I'm really torn because I just think there are a lot of great animated movies that came out this year. I've been a big proponent of Isle of Dogs that came out earlier this year. This might be better than that. I'm not sure. I don't want to shit on Wes Anderson because Wes Anderson makes great movies. But I just think this was such a...
definitely enjoyed it more than Isle of Dogs.
I didn't ask for your opinion. I just think the animation is incredible. I think the actual design and the character design and the world design are incredible. The characters are likable. The voice cast is really good. The story arcs are really tight. The pacing was great. The music's great. I don't have anything bad to say about this movie. It's really just incredible.
This movie's awesome. I loved it. And Miles Morales is one of those things that I always thought was a cool design and a cool idea that they never fully landed in comics. I used to always say that the best comic movie is usually not as good as a mediocre comic, but that's been changing over the last few years. Like Civil War is a good example of something that was a movie that was better than the comic it was based on. I think this Miles Morales is so much cooler than the comic book version of it. It, for the first time, made me a full-on fan of the character.
Yeah.
So.
I think they made cool additions to Miles to make him seem more real. I don't know if that's, really
which is, kind of appropriate because I feel like the appeal of Spider-Man has always kind of been identifiability. He's supposed to be like you more than a lot of other superheroes.
Well, so the great thing about Miles in this movie is that, we've seen the whole Peter in high school thing,
right?
2 or 3 times now. And even though you kind of get it again with Miles Morales, it feels new and original and different because it's a different character. I liked Miles being, like an artist. I know, like, that's not a part of who he is in the comic books.
Right.
And, but one thing they incorporated that I thought was cool is the relationship he has with his uncle. And how, who his uncle is and some of the difficulty in the relationship. I'm not sure, how else to describe it. But I feel like they incorporated things from the comic book version of Miles, and they kind of created new things for this version of Miles that work really, really well and make him a very, very likable lead in a movie that you would normally associate solely with Peter Parker. What about, what do you guys think of all the other Spider people?
Well, first of all, my hands down favorite thing about the movie is it gets past the idea that Spider-Man has to be in high school to be cool.
Yeah.
Because old burnout Spider-Man is the best fucking part.
It's really great.
He is so funny. He's so likable, even when he's the closest to what I really view Spider-Man as, because a lot of times in media outside of comics, Spider-Man's very cuddly. He's very like oh, he's just like, whereas in comics he can be kind of a dick. He bounces back and forth between being a self-absorbed prick and then being like, oh, I shouldn't be a self-absorbed prick. And that was definitely this guy in this movie. I loved it.
I also really liked Chris Pine Spider-Man.
Oh, let's break it down. Yeah, so the very first Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man in the universe, is Chris Pine Spider-Man, who is your traditional Peter Parker.
Yep.
He's a grad student. He's like 25. And he's like in his prime, he's finally overcome the initial yips of trying to figure out how to be the superhero, and he's like peak form. And he's like the nicest guy. He's like very helpful. He's just kind of this ideal of what you hope a superhero would be like. And I really like Chris Pine in this role. I kind of wanted to see more of that Spider-Man.
Yeah, for sure.
But I understand why we don't.
Well, you know what's funny? I watched it on Saturday, and I did not know till today that the two different Peter Parkers were voiced by two different people.
Oh, really?
I thought it was
Yeah.
all Chris Pine. He was just doing a different thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Jake Johnson is
the Peter B. Parker,
Right.
Yeah.
From the slightly alternate universe where he's a little bit older, he's a little bit more seasoned. Things have gotten a little repetitive,
slightly inept.
and I don't even know if he's inept.
He's in
I think he's just
sweatpants
over
for
it.
half the
Yeah,
movie.
it's kind of over. It's the right thing because I guess the whole thing of his character is it kind of plays on kind of this repetitiveness of the comic book story. A villain has a dastardly plan. You got to go thwart the plan. There's usually a thingamajig that you got to get the plan, and he's just got all the beats down, A, B, C, and D.
Goober.
Yeah, the goober. And so, I mean, he's probably not in peak athletic form, but like mentally, he's just got the whole science down. I really liked him. Like you said, Hurt. He's even though he is kind of scummy and kind of a failure, he's just very likable the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's an endearing mentor in a way that doesn't feel forced.
Yeah, he's an endearing mentor in a way that isn't like cliched.
Yeah.
No. That's a good way to describe it. I thought that was an interesting part of that because you've seen, I feel like this reluctant trainer thing is something we've seen a bunch.
Right.
But this movie addresses the trope and then gets through it really quickly.
Yeah. Right.
And it's almost like we have to address it because this is the way we have made this Peter Parker. But we're also going to move on from it really fast and get right to it. And I like that. I also really, really liked Haley Steinfeld's Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen was cool.
So could you give us a little? I don't know if you're comfortable. Would you mind giving us a little bit more background on Spider-Gwen, like the story?
I'm trying to remember exactly when she showed up because it was sort of introduced as like just sort of almost like a gag,
Right, because that's always how I imagined it. And then I did a little bit more digging and watched that Marvel puts out these TLDR YouTube videos for like large comic book arcs where they'll do like a 1.5 minute video explaining how a whole comic book story is so you can catch up and jump in the next episode. And they did one for Spider-Gwen. I was like, oh, that's actually really interesting. She's got a really interesting background.
Yeah, she I mean, it's basically, it's an alternate universe story, almost in sort of like a DC alternate universe, like Elseworlds world sort of vein, where Gwen Stacy gets bitten by the spider instead, and basically her Uncle Ben is Peter Parker. She fails to save Peter Parker, and she becomes like Spider-Woman because of it. And they did, honestly, with the same thing they did with Miles, they kind of neutered her by making her part of the main Marvel universe. But it's definitely a really cool design, and they used it really well in this movie.
Do you think the world we get with Miles you think that's supposed to be the 616, or do you think the Jake Johnson Peter Parker is like 616?
I feel like the Jake Johnson is 616,
That's what
and
I
this
thought,
was
too.
the ultimate universe.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the way the villains were,
Right?
designed.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was definitely new takes on all the villains.
Yeah. I know in the Ultimate one, like Green Goblin he's a monster. He's not the size of a building monster like he is in this one, but
definitely this Green Goblin was the closest to the Ultimate
Yeah.
Universe Green Goblin.
Yeah. Well, who else we got? Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir.
Spider-Man Noir,
He has some of the best lines.
he does.
I'm really hoping that, we talked about in the previous thing that Ben Affleck maybe sliding into that Nick Cage, seal of crap sort of thing. I hope that Nick Cage is coming out of it, and because I'm a big proponent of Nick Cage, and he's a hard guy to fight for sometimes.
Yeah.
But he was really great in this. I know he really likes comic book stuff, so I'm sure he had a good time doing it. And yeah, I liked it a lot. He had some of the best lines.
The tragic backstory line, I think, may have been my favorite
Yeah.
part of the movie. It really got me, especially just delivered in that Nick Cage voice.
I don't know. I also really enjoyed the Rubik's Cube joke.
Yeah, the Rubik's Cube joke was
really good.
fantastic. I will solve this.
Yeah.
John Mulaney as Peter Porker,
Spider-Ham,
which was okay.
That was the thing that sold me on this movie.
Really?
Because I'd seen a couple
Yeah.
trailers, and I was like, this looks like it could be okay, but it also could be crap, because it's
Yeah.
Sony. But the first trailer I saw was Peter Porker. I was like, I'm on board. Because I like Mulaney a lot, and I have memories of that character from when I was a kid. I don't... I didn't dive deep into those comics, but I can remember like the ads for it and stuff. So it was cool that they used that.
John Mulaney was a great cast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. I think to me, kind of with you, Christian, I feel like it stood out more to me in the trailer than it did in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was incorporated as well as some of the other ones were.
That's probably true for all the three kind of side
That's
Spider-Man
probably
as a
true.
whole. Because then you had Penny Parker, and I felt personally she offered the least to the overall. Like she didn't really. I thought Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir had great lines.
Yeah,
and they were just funny presence in the movie. I didn't feel like Penny Parker had the same amount of to offer. They could have. I just didn't feel like it was used.
Well, I didn't recognize her from something before, so I'm assuming she was original creation for this.
She is not.
No,
She's
she
not?
was 2014, I believe, is the
All right, on.
initial debut.
She is created by Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance when he got into comic book writing.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which, I mean, look, I think we should just go say our rating and then get into spoilers because
Yeah.
there's another Spider-Man I want to talk about.
Sure thing.
So, better than Transformers.
This movie, so for those of you who are unaware, our rating system is better or worse than Michael Bay's Transformers, which we have officially determined is the most mediocre movie ever made. So everything that has existed and will exist after this is either better or worse than Michael Bay's Transformers.
jump to it.
That's fine. That said, this movie is way better than
This
Transformers.
movie is so much better than Transformers.
So what else did you want to get into, Christian?
So, Oscar Isaacs as Spider-Man 2099.
Yep.
Perfect casting. And the only problem I had with it is he should have been in the movie all along because, God, I wanted to see it.
Yeah, I was really into that too because I knew everybody had said there was a killer after credit
Yeah.
scene, and I thought it was the Stan Lee tribute, which was cool, but
Yeah.
I was like, that's not really killer.
Yeah.
And then we got to that, and it was cool. I will say from that brings me to my one big problem with this movie, which it is the fourth fucking Spider-Man movie in a row without the best Spider-Man character, and I'm including Spider-Man when I say that.
Who is it?
No J. Jonah Jameson.
You're right. No J. Jonah.
There's a little cameo at the end,
Yeah.
but there's no J. Jonah Jameson, and that pisses me off.
I didn't, honestly. The problem with J. Jonah now is just because we've already had a perfect version.
Right.
J.K. Simmons is fantastic, right? I mean, no one. Who else are you going to get to play that character?
I've got mine.
Oh, let's hear
I
it.
got my perfect one. And I know you guys are thinking, oh, he's about to say Hugh Laurie. I'm not about to say Hugh Laurie. Tom Hanks.
I could dig Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks' head is shaped exactly like J. Jonah.
That's fair.
He's got a
And-
great mustache too.
And whenever he's in like some Coen Brothers purity piece type movie, he always uses that sort of voice that you want J. Jonah to have, And he said he wants to be in a comic book movie, and no one's taken advantage of that.
That does seem strange.
That's a good. That is a good cast. But you're right. I hadn't thought about it. I have thought about it with the live action movies that we had. But he definitely needs to be in that world. Like, I'm trying to think if I really had problems with it. I think there were some parts where maybe it was a little slow. Like they may have lingered on some things longer than I felt like they needed to. Like I feel like we had gotten to the conclusion or the purpose of a scene, and that scene still continued, and I felt we could have moved on to the next thing. So maybe some editing issues, but overall, this is a really well made movie.
Yeah, no, I don't have a lot of complaints. I think they do a really good job of. I mean, again, I think immediately once you get into the movie, you're drawn into the visual style. Like I think that carries you for several minutes of the movie, just because it's just so striking and different from anything else you've seen. But I feel like that almost tricks you into getting more absorbed into like the basics of Miles' world. Whereas, with Peter Parker, we understand him and everyone he's related to. With Miles, you have to start over. We don't know anything about him. We don't know his parents. We don't know his deal, his relationships, whatever. And I think they do a good job of.
And it worked really well as both just a Miles Morales origin and this overall Spider-Verse story.
I think to both y'all's points, you get things. Obviously, you're introduced to Miles, and you're introduced to his family structure and all these characters that are important to him and how he becomes Spider-Man. But you also get Aunt May, and you also you get classic Spider-Man villains, and you get Peter Parker, and it feels something like you're coming back to,
right? While
also feeling new and original. What'd you guys think? I really like the version of Doc Ock in this movie.
I did too.
I really liked it. Like the character design was really good. The reveal was really good. I was not expecting it. I like the gender swap. I don't know. I like everything about
it a lot. Yeah.
And it was a good use of gender swap because they couldn't have done the surprise if they didn't do that.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I was surprised at how much I liked it
because you mentioned to me when they show her on like the screen and when they're watching like a science video in their science class or whatever, you're like, it looks like Professor Trelawney or whatever from Harry Potter.
Yeah, they do it really, really well.
Yeah.
Having said that, Kingpin is. I feel like maybe I don't really love Kingpin's motivation in this.
Really?
But yeah, and I'll say that mostly because it feels like Kingpin's motivation in the Marvel Netflix shows.
It is, and I agree. But to me, that means they cherry picked a good thing from the Marvel slow universe.
Sure, I just watched it though. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Well, you're the only one because there's way too many episodes.
Well, my favorite thing about the Kingpin thing, and this is some insider stuff here, but
Uncanny Valley.
No, not doing that. Different. No, comic book insider stuff.
Oh, okay.
They sort of based the design on this. Comic artist named Bill Sienkiewicz, which I probably mangled the pronunciation of his name, but he was a guy who drew really expressive kind of stuff, and he was the first guy that really did painting in comic books that it didn't just look like a fucking Hallmark card or something. And but he did one Daredevil graphic novel where he drew Kingpin like that. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, are they going for the Sienkiewicz thing? And then when they showed the flashbacks of his family and stuff, it was drawn like exactly in that dude's style. So that made me very happy.
This movie's full of odes and nods to a real comic book thing. Isn't it like, what is that, Comic Society logo or whatever at the
very beginning?
Very beginning. That's the first time it's been on anything related to Spider-Man in like a long time.
So
that's a big deal, I think. But
I mean, I think that was just like a joke at the beginning.
Oh, I didn't think of it as a joke.
That's what I figured it was, but I don't know. There are several things that I don't exactly know what they're in there for. There's the number 42 is kind of scattered around the movie, and I can't find a resource that.
From what I understand, it is Spider number 42 that bit Miles Morales.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If I was going to nitpick about this movie, my only contention would be, where did that spider come from? I know that there's like he's like a dimensional spider, but everybody else who got like affected by the dimensional incident, only got knocked back maybe like a week. Where the fuck did that spider come from?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good point.
That's literally my only complaint with this movie.
I mean, if you're going to try to make this make sense, why was it only pulling spider people between dimensions?
Also true. Because Spider-Man touched the
right on,
the
okay.
ray.
All right, that's a good reason then. Never mind.
Yeah.
I do feel like this is a. What are you
I was just going to call you stupid. It's like, no, that's aggressive. Let's not.
Well, it would be a good spot because this is where I've picked my spot to bring on some justice for a past opinion of you guys that is wrong.
Okay, let's do it.
You guys are fucking wrong about Lego Batman. Lego Batman is awesome. And this And one of the things I liked about this is it sort of felt like that same kind of movie. They even reuse a joke. You know, the joke about Spider-Man 3 is exactly the same joke about Batman 66. But for some reason, I feel like this movie vindicates Lego Batman, which is awesome. And
I completely disagree.
Incorrect. This is what Lego Batman should have been.
Agreed. Because this is exactly what we talked about in our original opinion. We felt like I think the concept of Lego Batman the way it is would work for like a short, but for a whole movie, it leans too heavy on the references and the jokes and not enough on the story. Like there's not enough story or character to drive you through. Whereas this one is very story and character driven and also has the meta humor and the jokes and all that kind of stuff.
I remember when you guys talked about this first, you said Lego Batman didn't have any heart. And my main problem with it is it had too much heart. It was trying too much for feels. And sometimes something could just be funny.
It
like
can,
Lego
but it also
Batman
needs
is
to be
funny.
good.
We're going to have to disagree.
We're gonna disagree.
I love Lego Batman. It is, in fact, my favorite Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that The Dark Knight exists. I'm putting it over top of that.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, like that's one of the things that I really liked about this movie is I thought there were really tight character arcs for like every character. Like Miles' his whole thing is very much about like identity. He's trying to live up to expectations, whereas he should be like leaning into what makes him special, what makes him an individual. Peter B. Parker is initially there just because he wants to go home. Like that's his whole motivation, and he comes to realize as he's going through it that, oh no, you know what? Maybe this whole thing has taught me. Maybe I do want kids. Maybe I should try again. Gwen Stacy comes in. She thinks that she also just wants to go home and be alone, and that's what she learns over the course that maybe friends and a community is good.
Her plot is the plot of Peter Parker and the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie.
Definitely. The dad even has a good arc where his whole thing is he's pushing his son to be the best he can, and he realizes over the course of the movie that he also needs to like be sensitive and like connect with his son. And even the uncle has a little arc, where he's he's doing his thing that he thinks is important, but then when the moments on the line when he has to choose between his things, he chooses his nephew and love and the things that he'd kind of been denying up to that point. And it's spoiler his final decision, but that's one of the things I really liked about it is it was very character driven, and that all of the story arcs were very, very tight. And I feel like, they etched out those what the character thinks they want, what the character actually needs, and like how they circle around to resolve those. And I don't know. It's one of the things I thought the movie did really well.
So here's a question for you guys that doesn't involve content. Did this movie do well this weekend?
It did.
Were there a lot of people in the shows you guys saw?
No.
But we went to this
we went to
theater.
9.
Well, yeah, because I went to see it in Pace, and, I realized probably part of the problem is there's like 0 black people in Pace. I asked Ian, hey, is it doing good at your theater? And he was like, not really, but there's also 0 black people in Destin. So, it might just be the racist-ass areas where we live where it's not doing as well. But
I mean, I don't think it blew the doors off, but I think it was...
Highest December animated opening.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, cool, right on.
Yeah. So it's definitely doing well enough. I suspect word of mouth will be kind to it.
Right. I hope it has some legs and becomes like the birthday party movie,
I
was going to say on that note, I don't think you're going to see it do astronomical week to week, but I think it has staying power.
Agreed. It came out a good time of year.
Yeah.
It might just continue to take their kids to this.
It might hang around $20 million a week for the next 6 weeks, and still it'll do really well.
Usually I don't care how a movie does. That just who gives a shit, but I want this to do well because I want superhero animated movies to be a thing.
Agreed.
I don't know why it's taken so long for us to really get, excluding Lego Batman.
Again, what do we talk about? We talked about Cowboy Bebop recently with the animation. There are certain things about Spider-Man specifically that are really hard to capture in live action.
Things that just work better.
They've actually done a really good job with Tom Holland, I feel like, with kind of his like posture and motions and stuff. And I feel like, Tom Holland must be doing a lot of goddamn stretching to do it. But it works so well in the animated form where you can, really have that kind of elasticity in the character.
Yeah, the body movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To me, the most visually striking scene in the movie is when Miles, takes the leap off the skyscraper and starts swinging through New York.
Oh, that's great.
It's a fantastic scene. I'm with you, Hurt. I want this movie to do well. I want to see more movies like this.
So, on that subject, say this does well. What would be the next thing you would like to see turned into an animated property?
Like
a
Spider-Man or any
thing.
Spider,
like
or
any superhero thing. I've got my answer, so I'll go first.
Go for it.
Okay, Tim Burton's Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's too old to do it now in live action. But, I mean, you guys watched that documentary about it, right? It seems like it was going to be kind of awesome. All those people would probably do the, I'm sure Chris Rock would come be Jimmy Olsen. I'm sure Nick Cage would come be Superman. I'm sure Sandra Bullock would come be Lois Lane. I think it'd be pretty rad. And, we've seen that Tim Burton has a style that works in animation. That would be my first vote.
Fantastic Four.
How did we know that you were going to pick Superman?
I do love Superman.
I know.
Fantastic Four is my vote.
Fantastic Four?
I think those power sets don't work in live action
I
very
just
well.
think it's Mr. Fantastic mostly. I feel like you can get away with the other ones pretty well.
Maybe. I mean, it seems like every version of Sue we have is awful. I mean, not that the power set doesn't have to work, but they just really suck at riding her.
Yeah.
I think Fantastic Four would be a great pick. They could actually do some Jack Kirby visuals, which they did in this movie as well. So I would be super on board with that.
You got one?
I don't.
Really?
I'm trying to come up with something under pressure.
To be fair, I recently had this argument with someone. Apparently, there is not, and we kind of learned this on our anime episode, there's not a lot of love for people maybe our age or for animated things. Like, people automatically kind of discredit it if it's animated. And I really think that's a disservice because animation is such a great art form.
Well, particularly since most of these superhero movies they have their head up the ass of are just animated movies.
Yeah.
Like Aquaman looks like an animated movie that just happens to have a human faces in it.
The new Lion King is an animated movie.
It is.
100%. I hate that they're calling it a live action reboot. It's a different kind of animation.
But, I mean, that's all I got, unless you guys got anything else on Spider-Man you want
Let's
to
see, do I have anything else on Spider-Man?
It's very good. Everyone should go see it.
Everyone should go see it. I'm really excited. We kind of, not predicted, what's the word I'm looking for? Not kind of predicted. We had posited this on earlier podcasts that, this could result in more than just Miles Morales being introduced. And I think all of the characters in this come off very strong.
Yeah, for sure.
I know when they want to do a sequel for this and they want to do it, the Gwen Stacy Miles movie, which I'm fine with, but I also kind of just want a Gwen Stacy movie.
I would be fine if the next movies they did for these were not Spider-Verse based.
Yeah.
It was these people on their own.
Yeah, for sure.
I like worn out 40-year-old Spider-Man.
Here's also a thing I think they should do. This is how Sony and Marvel settles their differences. Sony gives Spider-Man back to Marvel live action for the rights to do the whole Marvel universe animated. Marvel can't do shit animated. They're terrible. They've, for 20 years, have been shitty at doing animation.
Yeah.
But, Sony's obviously got a knack for it.
My pitch last week was that this is your entry point to fix your live action universe, actually, is that you've now introduced the world to Miles Morales, and you don't have to worry about Tom Holland Spider-Man anymore. You can let Marvel constantly play with him, and your Spider-Man that's going to be in live action versus Tom
Which I think people are totally ready for.
Yeah, Miles Morales.
So where would you guys put this in Spider-Man movies? Like, where would you rank it?
It's really high. Here's the thing. It is the best movie of all of them, in the sense that it is the best made movie with the best story, and it's just the best overall movie objectively. Subjectively, I have strong feelings about Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. I love those movies, the old Sam Raimi ones, and I really like Homecoming. That's one of my favorite ones. So it's hard for me to pick it over them, but I do think it is the best made movie of all of them.
I'm going number one with a bullet. It's my favorite one. And I'm telling you, I like the Raimi ones a lot. I even like Spider-Man 3.
I know you do.
I think what I like about the Raimi ones is they are definitely Raimi movies. You watch those movies, and you have no doubt that Sam Raimi directed these movies.
There's enough 1980s campiness in these movies.
Right. There's enough big eyes and cameras mounted on things and shit like that for it to totally be a Sam Raimi thing. The Amazing Spider-Man, the Mark Webb's best cast. And I like the story when it went forward, but the stuff where they tried to redo sort of ruined.
Yeah.
Tom Holland stuff, I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Almost all that supporting cast I want to strangle to death. And the fucking twist with MJ drives me nuts. That's CW series bad.
That's fair.
That's what the twist on every CW series. You introduce a character whose name is Jane Blowfish or whatever. And then it's like, oh, but Jane Blowfish, we'll look at her driver's license. She's really Diana Lance. She's the Black Canary.
Yeah.
And then, 6 episodes later, it's like, oh, well, everybody hates that, so we'll actually introduce the Black Canary. It's just a stupid twist. Saying a name is not a twist.
To be fair,
I
don't feel like they lean really heavily on it. I feel like it's kind of a throwaway at the denouement of the movie.
I think it's supposed to blow your mind, and it doesn't.
I don't think it is, but agree to disagree.
And also, Zendaya, her acting style is looking like she's holding in a fart. Someone said, just for the whole movie, look like you're holding in a fart.
I like Zendaya. But,
I like it fine.
I'm gonna. I hate to be the naysayer here. I'm putting it still behind Spider-Man 2.
That's fair.
Spider-Man 2 is strong number 2 for me. I love that.
Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, has arguably, and I realize we had a year with 2 great superhero villains in it. I get that. I still feel like Alfred Molina's Doc Ock is my favorite villain we've ever had on screen. And I love that performance, and I love that movie. So
yeah, that is a great movie. And you know what? The special effects don't hold up. Do hold up pretty well.
Yeah,
they're not
they do.
horrible.
It doesn't look bad.
Relatively. It's not quite Blade 2. But
see, I love Blade 2, but I haven't watched it in 10 years.
You shouldn't.
But yeah, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Better than Transformers.
For sure.
So what have we been watching, guys?
I watched Mowgli, the Andy Serkis Jungle Book movie.
Yes, I know. So this is actually a good example of bullshit industry terms. How much of that movie was in the Uncanny Valley?
Oh, it's not good, bro. So, okay, there was a lot going into this movie that people are like, this is the dark adult. More true to Kipling's original. That's a lie. All of that is a lie. This is the Jungle Book we've seen before. For a guy who, I think what happened, they ran out of money, and they were like, well, I can't put any more into it, so sell it to Netflix. Because there are parts that look fantastic, and then there are parts that just look like shit. I mean, the CGI is atrocious in parts of this movie. The voice cast is okay. I really like Christian Bale as Bagheera.
Yeah, that seems like the best one.
I really dislike Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan.
Fair.
Nothing is asked of Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie but to be Smaug or Smaug, or if you're Peter Jackson you want to say it wrong, but it's very disappointing. I don't like Andy Serkis as Baloo. If you want anything different, it's Baloo is not like the jokester, kind of like bad example, but still caring role model. Like, he's very aggressive. He wants what's best for Mowgli, but he's kind of like this dick teacher to him, and I didn't like it. It's fairly short. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. If you want to watch a Jungle Book movie, watch the Jon Favreau one. It's better. It looks better, and the acting's better, and all around, just way more enjoyable. I rewatched Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I think I came down harder on that movie the first time. I actually enjoyed it more the second time I watched it. It's some of the jokes are really, really funny.
A big thing I'm a proponent of is anticipation is the enemy of comedy.
Yeah.
Sometimes watching a comedy on the second viewing is when you're relaxed and you're not needing to laugh, it works way better.
I felt like that movie worked better. I enjoyed it more. It's very, very low stakes, and I feel like that's probably its biggest hindrance. Is you come right after Infinity War, and it's just Hank can't lose his suitcase house, and that's not really like.
See, I liked that it was low stakes.
Yeah.
I think I needed low stakes, and I think also for the twist of the after credit scene to work, it needed to be low stakes. You needed to forget you were in the same.
And I think that it landed with me more this time than it did the first time. I will say that the after credits worked really, really well because my wife is sitting there watching it, and I'm not watching the after credits. I'm watching her react to it, and it's just like her eyes got big and her jaw dropped. She's like, "Wait a minute, what? What?" And it just worked exactly how they would want it to.
It was the same way with Sarah because we were watching it and she really enjoyed it, and then it comes that after credit scene. She's like, "Man, fuck this,"
I also watched Goblet of Fire, Half-Blood Prince, and Order of the Phoenix.
Good
I
for
said
you.
Those the wrong order. I did
That's
those
fine.
3. Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix are not good movies.
Wizard fight at the end of Order of the Phoenix, though,
is
pretty boss.
Awesome. Very awesome. I don't get why people dislike Michael Gambon's Dumbledore. I think he's awesome.
I think people when you go back and watch it, you see he's the better of the two.
Yes,
it was just,
thank you.
It was just Richard Harris is beloved,
Yeah.
and you weren't ready for him to be gone.
Well,
but Michael Gambon he rides that
The
razor's
moral
edge
line,
that
yeah.
he needs to be, where half the time he's lovable and half the time he seems like a creep.
Dumbledore is super morally questionable.
Right.
I don't know that Richard Harris would have been able to do that.
No.
You don't get that in the first 2 books.
Right.
So he's fine for that. But even starting Prisoner of Azkaban and definitely in Order of the Phoenix, did you see Richard Harris playing super dick, annoying, avoid Harry Dumbledore? I can't, but Michael Gambon does it perfectly. Half-Blood Prince, probably the best movie. Definitely the best book. I finished Deathly Hallows this week. But God, it made me so mad now that I'm a big Ginny Weasley fan, how much they screw over Ginny in that movie.
That movie's got one of the longest Alan Rickman pauses in movie, in anywhere. It's the longest pause in a sentence I've ever. It's one of the. It's Harry accuses Malfoy of putting a curse on something.
Yeah, Katie Bell or whatever.
Yeah, and McGonagall and Snape are like, "That's serious. What proof do you have?" He's like, "I just know." And Snape goes, "You just." No, it's insanely long.
When I watch him, I'm like, man, we were so lucky to get Alan Rickman.
It's so good. Oh my god, I love that scene so much.
I'll try to power through Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 sometime this week. That's it. That's about all I watched.
Before we get into what I watch, I just want to change.
I got one thing. One thing. I know I've been promoting Critical Role a crap ton on this podcast. Yep. Deborah Ann Wool, who was on the Daredevil show on Netflix.
Oh, right on. Yeah, Karen Page.
Karen Page. Yeah. She needs a job now. She was on the last episode of Critical Role, and she announced that she is starting her own D&D show on Geek and Sundry, and I'm very, very curious to watch it. She was excellent in Critical Role this past week, and she's apparently a huge D&D fan. She spent months building her own homebrew story. I'm excited to watch it. So if you're into D&D, watch out for the Geek and Sundry's new D&D show.
I wanted to real quick change my answer on something. I feel like I need to.
Okay.
I'd agreed with you that Alfred Molina as Doc Ock was the best Spider-Man villain. I'm really attached to Michael Keaton as Vulture.
He's also fantastic.
Because he's the one I'm most like, oh, if I was in this movie, I wouldn't be Spider-Man. I'd be the Vulture.
I could see you being Michael Keaton in general.
Oh, yeah, totally. No. As for what I've been watching, I'm in the midst of a huge Hellboy reread. Hellboy's branched into various titles, BPRD, Abe Sapien. Spoiler alert from comics years ago, Hellboy had died a while back, and then he went to hell, and then the comic was about him being in hell, and then that ended, so I kind of stopped reading it. Well, I found out in the most recent BPRD things, there were some big happenings that I'm trying to catch up with now, but that's going to be an undertaking. This will probably be my answer the next 3 times you talk to me.
Is reading Hellboy? That's what you're doing with all your time?
Yeah. But,
is that Mike Mignola? Is that
right? Mike Mignola,
yeah.
Also, I got the Beastie Boys book.
Yeah.
It's super fun. It's exactly a book by those guys you'd think it would be like. It's just them fun, talking shit, saying funny things, that sort of thing. And watching the newest season on Netflix of Schitt's Creek, and it is not as good.
My wife loves Schitt's Creek.
I loved the seasons up to this one. This one's not grabbing me yet.
I found that you're talking about season 4?
Yeah.
David is not as good when he's in a relationship.
He's not.
And David is the best character in the show.
It's totally because there was an aspect of him in the Stevie relationship. It's like, let's just get over this and get him into a relationship with a dude because that seems more natural. But it's totally kind of ruined the show. And you know what the problem with this season is? They have too many Andy Griffiths. Up until this season, Stevie was the Andy Griffith.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
She was the normal person, watching all the wacky people do all the wacky shit. But now there's her, David's boyfriend, and what's his name? Chris Elliott's wife. She's an Andy Griffith now. She's suddenly like a normal, well-rounded person, and it's kind of pissing in the pool for me.
Man, we were at work today. I'm so glad you brought this show up. We were sitting at work today, and we were talking about Beetlejuice, and I just had the moment I realized Moira is from Beetlejuice and Home Alone. Yeah, it never clicked for me before, but yeah. It's a funny show. It is.
Yeah, it's a funny show.
I need to get started on it. I watched a shit ton of movies this weekend, and by a shit ton, I'm including Into the Spider-Verse. But I also watched First Reformed with Ethan Hawke and Amanda Seyfried. It is Ethan Hawke's getting nominated for it on a couple of different things. It is a slow burn about a small town pastor in like it's like a gift shop church. It's a church, but it's mostly it's like a historical building. The story follows him as he's counseling this young couple who they're both kind of environmental extremists. The husband very much more so, and then some weird things happen, and then he kind of changes his opinion over time. Ethan Hawke is actually really good in it. I don't know when Ethan Hawke turned into a good actor, because he definitely wasn't like early on in the career. But
Ethan Hawke's made some good movies.
Motherfucker, Ethan Hawke in Training Day is not good.
What was the one he was in with about vampires?
Yeah, 30 Days a Night.
No.
Shit, no. I haven't seen that one. No, not yet.
Daybreak. Yeah,
he's actually really good in that movie.
Yes, he's in something else recently. Oh no,
the movie's stupid.
Yeah,
but he's good in it.
And he's in Boyhood, which is also really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really like a lot of his old stuff, mostly because in his old stuff he just played me. He didn't really act; he just played himself. But so I'm not a huge fan of reality bites, but I like Before Sunrise and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So,
but yeah, I mean, look, it's not like the most exciting watch. It's worth your time. Ethan Hawke is really good in it. And Amanda Seyfried is so low-key sinister, it's almost impossible to notice. Like, you can come away with this movie and watch it and be like, oh, she's just this nice girl. But she is not. Yeah. She is the bad guy in this movie. And if you're not paying attention, you will not notice that. The other movie I watched is Swiss Army Man from a couple years ago.
Yep.
With Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano, where Paul Dano is stranded on a desert island and comes across a dead body that has a bunch of magical powers, and then they go on adventures together where
it's a weird movie.
It's a weird movie. It's got Daniel Radcliffe is at one point a fart jet ski.
Yep.
He has a boner compass. He can like shoot projectiles out of his mouth. It's
Isn't it funny how hard Daniel Radcliffe went after Harry Potter?
100%. He's great though. He's very funny. His comedic timing is good. Yeah, no. So it's like a buddy road movie with this weird twist of one of them is a corpse that's coming back to life through the power of love. I don't know. It's very strange, but it was also really hard to turn off.
Is this the first time you've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. It's a good movie.
So
it's weird, though.
I quite enjoyed it. Both of these movies were better than Transformers for me. I quite enjoyed them.
Yeah.
But I think that's mostly what I've been watching.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Are we going to take a Christmas break? Or are we doing
I don't know, man. We probably should. We just take a lot of breaks.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Out of the ones coming out next week, Aquaman versus Bumblebee, which one are you more excited about?
Oh, are you going to say Aquaman?
Well, look.
No, I'm going to say Bumblebee.
I'm going to see Aquaman first. I think I'm going to enjoy Bumblebee more, but I'm going to see Aquaman first.
I think both of them... It's weird because they're both coming from same places. They're coming from franchises that have not traditionally been great.
Yeah, tainted.
But they both look really good. But I think I'm more excited about Bumblebee.
I am too.
It looks more like it checks the boxes for me.
I just want a good Transformers movie so bad, but...
And I also really like John Cena.
Yeah.
He's got the biggest fucking head.
He's got a huge head. Well, that's probably one of the reasons I like him. I have a big fucking head.
This is the last thing I want to say. Did you guys see him on the Graham Norton show?
Yes.
Where he's talking about wrestling names?
No, I didn't see that part.
It's fantastic. Him and Matthew McConaughey are going off, like, ripping, because apparently Matthew McConaughey, this may not seem like a shocker, huge wrestling fan.
That's dope.
And so Matthew McConaughey's just throwing him off, and John Cena's, like, having a commentary, and then he's like, and then you get to me. John Cena. It's like everyone else has fantastic wrestling names. Yours? It's just your name. John Cena. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. You, John Cena. It's hilarious.
And doesn't he look really silly in a suit because of his giant-ass body and head?
Huge. He's only like 6 foot tall. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's not like super tall,
but he's very broad.
He's super broad. Apparently he wants to be the next Captain America.
Sure.
Yeah, fine with me. Go ahead.
That would be like, I feel like that would have to be like the gritty Frank Miller universe.
The Marine version.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, like, actually, you know what? John Cena has the actual body type of, like, the Dark Knight Returns characters.
Yeah, for sure.
If there was somebody who could play Dark Knight Returns Batman in real life.
Well,
or Superman.
While Steve Rogers was frozen, this was like a retcon fix.
Yeah.
But Steve Rogers still made some appearance, or Captain America still made some appearances in comics. So to retcon that out, they invented a Captain America who had been Captain America while he was out. And John Cena would probably be pretty perfect for that. Because he's kind of a morally ambiguous sort of.
Yeah,
I
that's
dig
it.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for listening. Please like our podcast, subscribe, tell your friends about it. If you have any thoughts on Into the Spider-Verse, things you're excited about, other spin-off movies that you think they should make out of it, please reach out to us and let us know at betterthantransformers@gmail.com. You can also reach us at Real Phonies on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks to Zach Owens for art and Brian Velasquez for our theme, and we'll see you guys next week.